It's a real pleasure for me to have the opportunity to talk to totally different audience to the one that we normally do. We normally talk to salespeople, buyers, fabric suppliers. And today is totally different, and I think it's great because we're talking mostly to students that are our future. They are the guys that we hope very soon they're gonna help us and they're gonna continue our dream and our business. I don't have probably the question that they are thinking about is as they are close to finish the college and the university, is what is the formula to be successful? And what I like to say that obviously I don't have a formula, probably nobody does. The real formula, I think, is to have a lot of passion, to love what you do, to work hard, to find all the time new solutions, to find things that they are different from the usual things, and to try new ways, to have ideas. The ideas are the things that are the engine of our work, are the ideas that can make a business successful. And I would say, if we see, for instance, what Jerome did, what I did in the past, is only, I would say, about ideas. Obviously, you have also to be good in giving to your ideas a business structure, because without that, obviously, nothing can work. But let's say I'd like to go through a little bit my career because I think there are a lot of things that probably can help you if you think about the way that we've been doing things. Probably you can learn from our mistakes, and you can learn probably from also our success. I started in this business, in the denim and the fashion, by accident, totally. When I was young, at your age, I was absolutely not thinking to be in the fashion business. Honestly, I didn't like it, and I didn't have a lot of respect for people spending money for nothing, basically. And so this one just to say, to explain how the things are different when I started and what is happening today. Today, the world is much more sophisticated. Communication works in totally a different way, and you have to be ready. I mean, obviously, the work is the best school, but to go to work with a preparation is totally different thing. I learned a few very important things. Probably my first 30 days of work are the ones that they been able to teach me more than probably the next 30 years. I started my business in Cortina d'Ampezzo in Italy. That is at that time was a very fashion winter resort. And as I told you, I started by accident because I had a friend of mine that had a kind of disco club that at that time was totally unusual in Italy. And he told me, why you don't open a store right in front of me? They're basically giving that store, they're giving away this store for almost nothing. You can open and you can sell something to my customers that they are waiting in line to get into the club. And I said, okay, but I didn't have any idea where to buy stuff, how to do it, how to run a business, and obviously I didn't have any idea about how to get the money. So anyhow, to make it short, I started this business, and in the first 30 days, I learned what the attitude of the people when they buy something is. I learned how to market the product, how to show something that maybe is not that great, but if you present it in the right way, it looks great. I understood so many things about the retail and the product, and in some way I learned that people is looking for the best, and they like to show that fashion in some way is a dream. The dream of that the way that you present yourself to the other people. And in those days, basically, I learned that my destiny in some way was to work in the high end of the fashion business. And started from there. I've been, I don't know how, because honestly, I still, sometimes I ask myself how I did all these things without knowing anything, just following my instinct and my aesthetic thing that honestly I was not even thinking to have it. And anyhow, my store been very, very successful, and Cortina was a destination of many, many buyers all around the world. And when they saw my stuff, they've been starting to ask, wow, can we have it? Why you don't produce for us? In some way, I was already tired of my retail business. And so I decided to move from that location into the Veneto area in Italy, where Veneto area in Italy at that time was mostly a men's classic suiting industry that was already almost dying at that point. So in some way, I came into a situation that was about converting that industry into something else. And I started a few companies, and the occasion that I met Mark. Because at that time, obviously, a person was the designer, the production manager, the salesperson, the financial manager. Basically, we was doing everything, including sales. When I had my production ready, I was putting into the car and going to Mark, trying to get a check from Mark, and going back home and making more production. Anyhow, the important thing is that at that time, the jean was still a kind of utility and a workwear product. I was probably one of the first in Europe at that time, having a vision of bringing the jeans to totally different level. And it's been a very long way. Because if you think about, I started in the early 70s, and I would say only in the last 10 years, honestly, the jean, especially here in America, because America is a very utilitarian kind of mentality, and so the jean was a jean. And it was no understanding of the jean as a kind of luxury product. And so it was a process that was going on and on and on for years and years and years of heavy, heavy work, trying to develop the image of a new generation of products. I've been developing a lot of different brands. One is the one that he mentioned, Daily Blue. After Daily Blue probably came the one that is more famous today, that is Diesel. And, but it's funny in some way because the beauty of fashion is that future is totally unpredictable. Because when we started Diesel, we was thinking to make probably the worst brand possible. in terms that our goal was with Diesel to sell all the closeout, make off price, because we had other brands that were more fashion oriented, more famous also than Diesel at that time. And I remember when we tried to find a name, I said, oh, why we don't put a name that is so ugly that never gonna be successful? And so we gave this name, Diesel, that was a slow car, smelling bad. And you see, and you see that today is a company that is probably almost $2 billion. And all the other brands that they had that I was so proud about, they are disappeared. Anyhow, after Diesel, I started an experience that probably is the most interesting one in my career. I started a company called Genius Group. And Genius Group was not a brand, but was probably one of the first fashion conglomerate in terms of that was a holding of many different brands that basically I was thinking to bring the best creative people that were available at that time to develop their idea, to develop the project, to give them a support of logistics and marketing and sales. And so I had the possibility to develop so many other projects, like just to mention some, Catherine Hamnet, that is a very famous British designer, Goldie, that at that time was one of the most famous ones, and Replay, that's still a very, very successful brand. But the great thing was that Genius Group at that time was internationally considered as the house of creativity. Every young designer that had an idea of something was picking up the phone, telling, I'm coming over, I'd like to show you something. And the day after, probably, I was producing his line, marketing the line, and bringing to the market, and showing how to do. And and from Genius Group, in Genius Group, I had the possibility in some way to develop a project that still in some way is very, very successful. If you think about what the fashion conglomerate are today, like, I don't know, the Gucci Group that develops so many different brands and different things, including Prada and many other. This one, in some way, was the original Prada project that I had at that time. Obviously, we did tons of mistakes, but in some way, the nature of my work was to try to open new ways, to find new way of working, to work in new design projects. And obviously, when you do that, you have very high risk, because obviously you can do things that they are amazing, but you cannot also do terrible mistakes. The good thing is that we learn, and that is a good suggestion to students that they are here. Learn from your mistake, put a lot of passion in what you do, put all your energy in the things that you believe. After the experience of Genius Group, I decided to bring all this creative experience international, to the international market, and then I created a big design studio that basically was supplying design projects to many, many different companies all over the world. And this one also was a fantastic experience, because I had the possibilities to talk and to work with so many different people and companies, and learn so much. Just to mention one of the best, I did a project with, for the Gap with Mickey Drexler. And honestly, I have to say it was really a pleasure to work with him, because he's a person so focused on the details, on the nature of the projects. I remember, without caring about the time difference, he was calling me 4 o'clock in the morning in Italy, telling me, but are you sure of that button? I think that should be blue instead brown or whatever. And so anyhow, this one was for me an amazing experience, and I had the possibilities to have contacts in Japan, in Europe, obviously in America. And that's a time that in some way I got in love with America. I had so good working experience here. And I had also the feeling that the approach of the American market to the denim was changing dramatically, because until that time, basically, the jean was a kind of utilitarian product. Everybody was spending $25 for a jean, period. It could be a millionaire or not a millionaire. At that time, the approach to the denim started to be different. And let's say the premium market was starting, first steps of the premium market. I decided to come directly in here instead being just a consultant. And I started a company called A-Gold-D that basically was, and that's a time that I met Jerome the first time. And it was a pleasure to work with him. He was a young guy, still young. Incredible, excited about the innovation and the new things on the product. And from there, we've been keeping a friendship and a mutual respect that brought us finally a few years ago to put together our companies and to work together. And this project of A-Gold-D was really successful at the high end of the American market. And I would say was probably one of the first, maybe the first premium denim product in America. And after that, I still at that time was back and forth from America to Europe. And finally, when I decided to go with my own brand, AG Adriano Goldschmidt, that I started in Italy the first period. But after that, I decided, okay, it's a time to move. In some way, I was tired of Europe. I understood that in America was opening up and creating and having a tremendous opportunity in the denim business. And one day from the other, I said to my wife, pack, we go. And we did. And I started working here. And here, obviously, as Mark said, California is the country of the denim. It is a pleasure coming here in the campus, and every 10 people, 9 are wearing denim. And I remember when I was in my campus, denim was not allowed. You couldn't go to school with the denim. And so I started to work here in America full time. Not only designing, but taking care of all the processes of production. And I have to say, California in some ways is a dream country, because we still work. I mean, it's not design, it's not a FedEx, it's not a package, it's not an email to Hong Kong or China. We make it here. We have control of our product. We build our product every day, brick after brick. And and honestly, I feel that's a way to work. And we've been, obviously, we've been very successful because we've been able to create a beautiful product that today and in last years has been dominating the international markets in the high-end denim. I have to say that today, obviously, things are changing and dramatically. The economy, obviously, is a thing that has an impact in every kind of activity, including ours. In some way, we were thinking until, honestly, a few months ago, oh, that's enough that we designed right and we're gonna be fine. And the reality is that is not enough. We have to come with new projects, with new ideas again. And it's not only about design, it's about having the right, giving the right image to the product, to have the right marketing, to have the right structure. And today the business is much, much more sophisticated and difficult and competitive than it was in the past. In the past, I remember in some way it was kind of easy. I've been in all my career when I went through what they call recessions, but honestly at that time we've been able, with a few new products, to laugh about recessions. Today is not. And we have to come really with something serious. And the mentality is changing completely. We need to have a new sense of responsibility and morality. And we have a responsibility also that is coming more and more important, that to create products with more responsibility to the environment and with lower impact. And this one is what we are starting, and honestly, we are late. We are late because we've been in an era that was showing us that the only goal was to show up, and that the luxury was the only thing that was important. And in some way, we have the responsibility because we forgot what the real things are. And today we are back to these kind of things, and it is an amazing project because, for instance, when we wash our jeans and we see the amount of water and chemicals and products that they are not great, honestly, that we put just to make happy a celebrity or make a good-looking jean, honestly, we feel bad. And today, what we have to do is to change our way and to think about to work in a different way. And probably this one is what we have to leave in some way to the new generations. To what we expect is that the young designers, the new owners of brands and companies, they understand that they have to work at a different level.
I don't know if you heard what Adriano said. He works together with Jerome, and they've brought their two companies together. So, Jerome, can you kind of pick up where Adriano left off, and then I'd like to open it up to everybody and have sort of an open forum.
Okay. So he did so many. I mean, he said so many things that I don't really need to talk anymore. He did it for me. Okay, so basically what brought me where I am today is basically loving what I do, absolutely loving what I do. I had a lot of passion at the young age. I was like maybe 20, 21-year-old when I started in the industry. My first job was with Guess Jeans, and I was just a designer over there. I stayed there approximately for 2 years. and I decided to do a small company called Circa. And at that time already, I wanted to try to get a product that was more global than just do an American company that would sell only in the US. So I was already trying to buy my fabric, do my washes like in Europe, like basically, and the styling like in Europe. When I started, it was more about designer jeans, and the heritage that I thought was in the US was more Levi's, Wrangler, Lee jeans, and that was for me the best of like a lot of things that I've learned about the product and about what I love to do. One of the stores that Mark mentioned, it's his own store, American Rag, that I believe I shopped for the last 20 years. Mark used to still have a huge section of vintage, because I think as he loves the clothing, he loves the jeans. He really, really loves the jeans. And it's really inspiring to go to his store and shop for that. So basically, so after I did Circa, that's when I met Adriano. I met Adriano, and it was very funny because I was going to do a partnership at that time with Lucky Brand. They offered me basically a percentage of the company, and in the same time, we had a friend in common that spoke to me and said, Adriano saw your product in Runnerman, and he would like to talk to you. And to me, Adriano was the godfather, like they call him, the godfather of the Indigo. So it was really funny because we had a meeting. He said, I will meet you at the Four Seasons Hotel in, I believe, in Andoini. So I walked in the hotel and I go to the bar and I'm trying to look at someone that's kind of fashion guy, you know? And I think, I look at this guy that's like a little bit like a sailorman to me, like, you know? And he says, hi, I'm Adriano Goldschmidt. And I think it took us 20 minutes and we shake hands, and we decided to form a company together that was called Goldie. The point of that was to get the input, the design, and the creativity sense of the Genius Group that Adriano was guiding in Italy, and that I was basically developing everything in the US, you know. So I did that for a little while with Adriano, but we had to go in different ways for different reasons, okay? But, and they were not from our reasons, but more from other people in the company. So when I left Goldie, I went to Lucky. And at that time at Lucky Brand, what I was always trying to do in every job and in every places that I went, I was really trying to get advantage and pick up something that was really important for me to grow in what I was doing, you know. Some of the weakness I saw from small company or companies that were starting in this industry is not strong knowledge. You need to be able to learn everything. It's much harder than we think it is. And sometimes when you can't learn it, you have to do it yourself, and you have to make it happen. Like one of the things that I used to do when I had Circa was basically work at the office until 5, 6 o'clock, and then going to laundries and trying to teach people how to wash a pair of jeans. Sometimes it took me until 2 o'clock in the morning. So I was too tired to go back home, and I ended up sleeping downtown. So it was not, like where we are today, but what we did for that, it's a lot of hard work. And it happens. I mean, I believe that, everybody that puts much out there of what they love and they're passionate and they have a sense of what they're learning through every places they go, they can really take that with them. The other point was really the fits. The fits were very important to me because I got beat up in the first company where the fits weren't right. And after that, it was my only, basically, and the thing that I was going through was, for me, was the most important is to give the fit, a perfect fit, and the wash would be just a cherry on the cake, okay? So I saw that I was starting to get all the elements to be able to have a great line, to have a great product, to be able to sell it, then you have to produce it. So you have a lot of people that go out there and they have a great product, but they have absolutely no knowledge of the structure that they need. So I took a job as a designer at Lucky Brand, And it pushed me to take care of more than only the design, to be involved in every aspect of the company, production, and a lot of aspects of the company. And that's when I learned that you can't really do it on your own. But if you have if you can pick the right people, you have to trust those people. What you can do, you do it best. You do it, and other people are there to do the rest. But you have to lead, no matter what. Sorry, you have to lead them. So I stayed 9 years with Lucky, because for me too it was a challenge not to stay for a company for 2-3 years, because I started moving fast. So I started moving from company to company, and then Lucky for me was a point where I saw that I had the opportunity to learn about the whole company, the structure, and now you get from 5 million to 150 or 200 million, and what you need to, people you need around and everything. So I stayed there for 9 years, and what I understood was Lucky Brand had a certain kind of customer, and like Adriano mentioned, to us, what makes us grow is to evolve. We can't, tomorrow, even if I have a huge company, but I cannot evolve, that's not what's going to drive me, And I think that what drives us at the beginning, there was a lot of successful things we do in life, and it's not monetary, but it's success with yourself. So with Lucky Brand, after 9 years, I found there was a niche in the market, and I knew Lucky was not the right company for me to bring the product, because it was different customers, everything was evolving, so I had to recreate not only the product the way I was seeing it, but I had to have a new sales force, a new way to come to the industry. It was a contemporary market. So when I started 7 for All Mankind, I believe I found a partner that had a structure, a company that had a structure that gave me I don't know how you say it in English, I won't say it in French, but what's inside the company that helped me to basically start the company, okay? And it took, it's funny because, with the experience that I have, I remember calling Adriano one morning, and I say, I'm shipping 7. I'm shipping 7 in Santa Monica, Fred Segal, or whatever it was. And to me, like, the experience I had in an amazing product is like when you ship it in less than a week, if you have a company, because it sells. It sells right away. And I was at the laundry, and my partner was at a store that we shipped, and he called me up and he says, all those girls are like holding the jeans in front of the changing room. They won't put them down. They just want to try them, and they're buying them really fast. And I remember calling Adriano because I was really excited. I said, that's it, that company is going to go again. And I was like super excited. So I did 7 and I realized doing 7 that everything that I put out there with people that I worked out for 20 years paid back, because those people, a lot of those people stayed around. Either it was factories, laundries, people for fabric, people that were really, I had a relationship with those people, and a trust, starting to build a trust with those people. And that helped me a lot to build the company where 7 was. I was thinking of something, I forgot. 1 second. Okay, I cannot get shy anymore. Wait. I have to think. Okay.
So what happened after 7? How'd you get to Citizens?
From 7 to Citizen, it was like a really bad fall. I had partners that were a little bit crooks, and I felt, I saw it.
Jerome, how do you feel about your partners?
Well,
No, I'm sorry.
They thought they were smart. I just got smarter. No, but I got in a place where, the company was growing very fast, and I didn't trust the guys because I saw they were moving, so I cannot find out. And at that time you have to be a little bit crook too. I don't say like in the bad way, but you have to be able to get all the information very fast and don't really trust, I learned one thing, and that's what pulled me off of 7. It was like every time I left something or a company, I said to myself, I can do it again. And that's what I think I tell Adriano all the time, because Adriano is so super talented that he thinks he can walk away and do something else. But that's not the point. What you're going to be talented of, you're always going to do it, and you're always going to make it happen. What you're not talented of and your weakness, those are the ones that you have to fix. So basically, when I left Seven, I could have found people with money, starting something, but I said, no, I said, it's my own fault if I didn't cover myself the right way. So I went through a very big lawsuit. And again, at that point, I wasn't thinking that would be money-wise, but more for me to learn in the next business to, to be able to protect myself the right way. But at that point, that's how I started Citizens of Humanity. And it was really hard because, I finished from a bad relationship and you're trying to build something. And, but basically, we built Citizens of Humanity. The company went up, I can say, very, very fast. After 2.5 years or 3 years, I sold over 60-something% of the company. And I kind of knew what that would happen. I kind of knew because I was at Lucky Brand, and like Mark mentioned, Lucky was sold. And then I was at Seven, and the people, when just before I left, we had big companies wanting to buy Seven. So when I started Citizens of Humanity, I kind of had a track record, and I knew that people will come and want to buy Citizens of Humanity. So I basically, I sold 60% of the company. At that time, before that time, I was trying to get Adriano to come with me. Basically, when I started Citizen, I left Seven and I called him up and I said, Adriano, I said, I know you with AG, but I know Mr. Cruz, his partners, whatever. I said, why don't you come with me? And I offered him a big percentage of the company. He didn't come. But to me to be with Adriano is one thing. Is like basically, and he knows that. Okay, I think that once Adriano stopped designing jeans, there is no more jeans in the industry. There is no more creative. He's been basically bringing to this industry for the past 25 years all the evolution of denim. And I always told him, I said, Adriano, part of my success in life is because of you, and he knows that. And so for Citizens of Humanity, when I sold the company, I didn't say, okay, that's it, I'm finished, it's over, I'm just going to, collect money and just be happy. But I wanted to still go to the next level. And that time I begged Adriano to come with me. He had a company, another company, and it took him approximately 6 months, back and forth. He had the people from Diesel calling him. He had a lot of people calling him again. And thanks to Michaela, she made him do the decision, basically his wife. He listened to his wife. Thanks to Michaela, Adriano came with me, and now it's been approximately, I believe, 2 years, Adriano? It's been 2 years? Yeah. It's been 2 years that we're together, and every day is a lot of fun, because we're product people. So, we'll meet each other at the laundry at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Or he will call me up on a Friday and say, I got something for you, but you'll just see it on Monday. And it's going to bug me the whole time. I'm going to say, come on, man, bring it on. That's it. That's it.
So these guys have have prepared a... they've prepared a whole presentation on their washing procedure, and that we have some, which they could go through. And we're going to have to, what we're going to do is we're going to invite them to come back to do that another time, because I think some of the things they're talking about are really compelling and important. One thing that Adriano mentioned, and I'll start off the first question, was he was talking about the impact on the environment that the denim process does to satisfy the whims and the wants of the top 25% of our society. And by doing this, we have blue corn in some countries, we have pollution and all that. So my first question I'm going to direct to Adriano, and I'd like to absolutely hear what Jerome has to say about this, is how is the next generation going to change the denim industry, in fact, the garment industry, and make it environmentally friendly? Big question.
Are we going to do it?
Or are we going to do that?
We hope to do that.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, go ahead, Adriano. For both of us.
You're next.
Okay. Well, he's going to take all the answers.
Yeah, this one is, obviously I don't have an answer because you need a crystal ball to know what is going to happen in the next 10 years and how our industry is going to change. The biggest change anyhow is, for now, that is the most important thing, is that we realize that we have to work in that direction. That honestly, we didn't have this responsibility in the past. And so you don't fix anything if you don't think that is wrong. And the biggest thing today is we realize that is wrong what we're doing. There are many ways, obviously, that we can work in improving and make the whole process more friendly. Let's say a jean, to make it very simple, is made of a cotton fabric, the denim. And denim is basically a fabric that is dyed, the warp of the fabric is dyed in indigo. Indigo is probably the more old color that is known from, is probably old like 6,000 or 7,000 years. And that is also a very strange story because you see in the history, you see the indigo is in Peru, is in Europe, is in Japan, is in Asia, in a period of time where it was no communication, and is probably the only color that is in somewhere was really global. And originally the indigo is a vegetal color that Bayer and BASF, that they are chemical companies at the early 19th century, being able to copy exactly the same chemical formulation and to make it synthetic. So indigo is a big part of the blue jeans. Then you have the cotton. The cotton, I think that everybody knows today that any kind of culture is the chemicals are a very important part of this process because basically are speeding up and cleaning and making the culture more profitable. And today there are many in different countries farms that are growing cotton in totally a different way. That is organic. What they call the organic cotton means basically that it's grown without chemicals. And then there are all the other components of the jeans, so that they are the zippers, they are metallic trims, so they are the thread, that also could have a more friendly production process. And then there is the laundry, the washing, that is probably honestly is terrible because we are using chemical acids, a lot of different things that honestly are a serious problem. And by the way, also we are using a lot of water. And as I said, this one is also our morality in some way is in trouble because we know that we're doing something bad, and we are just now starting to work in changing completely this process, and this one is probably the most difficult part. Basically using different machines and different processes in terms that we don't use water anymore. and we don't use chemicals, but honestly, we are really at the first steps of this project. But the other thing that I'd like to bring to the attention is what is happening after the fact that we've been able to sell these jeans. Is going to consumers. You buy the jeans, you wash it, and probably you wash your jean every week. You use a lot of energy, a lot of other chemicals and other products. And I'd just like to mention one thing that a journalist was telling me that more ecological jean is the one made in polyester, because he was saying that if we consider from the day that the product starts to the day that basically is destroyed, the whole cycle of the polyester in some ways more friendly than the cotton. It looks funny, but he's probably right. The thing is that also in that area is a lot that we can do. The jean is a beautiful product. One day you decide not to use it anymore, and you trash it. But the truth is that can be used again. Some guys are making a beautiful patchwork out of the used jeans, but obviously this one is a case that is very limited to a few pieces that Mark can make. From the industrial point of view, jean can be recycled, and you can create a fiber that can be used for insulation in the construction business. And there's a lot of things that you can do as long as somebody is really thinking seriously about the whole process. I would say it's probably a thing that is going to last years and years and years in order to be arrive to a positive conclusion.
Jerome, do you have some thoughts on that one?
I mean, he covered everything, so it's going to be kind of hard. But I mean, I think that to go to a friendly and organic jeans, it's a whole project. It's not, like Adriano mentioned, it's not about having like a fiber and only a wash, but much more than that. Like for example, on the women's market, 99% of the market today is with lycra, is with stretch. If you go to an organic product, you should not have stretch in the jeans. There is so many different things. I mean, it's to me would be more like a marketing aspect, that if you were serious to do something like that, the whole company should be. It should be almost the culture of the company, saying, okay, we're going to go to a direction where the way we're going to weave the fabric, the way we're going to wash the product, the natural minerals we're going to use to wash the product. There is like so many different products that are friendly that you can use and have like a chemical company develop. So that it's a very big step. But to me, it's more like a marketing point, like I said. Some companies are basically doing only that. I don't know if it's not in the jeans, but it's in different product. That's basically their vision of like, you know, what should be the future for the environment and for something like that. So, I mean, that's my point of view on that.
So let's open up the floor. Does anybody have anything to ask? I've got a ton of questions, but I'll keep mine for a moment.